investigative. Let's jump in.
All right. How's everybody doing on this Saturday afternoon? I hope everybody's doing well. By the way, my name is 12 Gauge, and this is my second channel, 12 Gauge True Crime Experience. You know, if you guys were anywhere and you're anybody, you were Nina's, Jeff's, myself, Tom Van, and Truth Exposes chat last night. We were rocking it like we were rock stars. We were, we were just booming it up. Nina, I don't know if you wanted to come on panel tonight or if you wanted to just observe and be in the chat. It's up to you. Just let me know one way or the other. But if you missed out on last night's show, you missed out. And you know what? Let me say hello to the people in the chat. Warning label Nina, of course. Texas Ranger, Rondi Potter. I'm going to make some people up. PKC, Aquarius. No, I'm just kidding. No, that's all I got in this channel so far, man. One more day, and this channel will be no more. All right, let me send you the invite. You know, last night was pretty damn awesome, I thought. It was pretty damn awesome. There you go. You know, I was able to watch the Dateline episode again. If you've yet to watch it, you can go to Peacock, and it's streaming now currently. So you can go check it out with your Peacock app, and you don't have to worry about commentators and all kinds of stuff trying to, give you their rendition of it. But I've still been thinking about that a little bit. I've been thinking about how insane that was and how some of the there she is, Aquarius, and how awful that night must have been. There's been people. Let me tell you, I've been watching YouTube all day today, but once I got home, I was scrolling through there and just trying to figure out, what I missed, what's been going on. Like Texas said, Tommy Jude went off on Jay for Justice. So I guess Tommy's trying to get an early start on the drama career since true crime is almost over for him. So, what better way than to go after a creator and start drama with them and become a drama creator? Of course, that is my opinion. And it's also, you saw in the beginning, everything that I say here is protected under the fair use clause. It is strictly my opinion, and everything is assumed until founded otherwise or shown as factual information by documents and or law enforcement articles or press conferences or things like that. Let me get you up here, Nina. And there she is. The warning, the warning label. Good God. That sounds bad.
No
Sounds
problem.
crackly. Sounds crackly. And there she went. Before I begin, let me show you my badass shirt. What do y'all think about that? My uncle my uncle Frank or my uncle Chico playing the guitar. What do y'all think about that? Just messing with you as far as the uncle part, but I thought that was a pretty cool shirt. What do y'all think? Texas Ranger says he's a coward and a punk. Pretty much. Pretty much. I mean, to go after another creator like that just because you didn't like the fact that she had an opinion about you, you know. There's a lot of these creators that have panel guests that need to be kicked in the teeth, bro. For real. I'm not promoting any violence or bullying or anything. That is my opinion. But some of them do, man. Some of them need to be kicked in the teeth with a sledgehammer and then helped up and then brushed off and then send them on their way. Thank you, Rondi. Thank you, Aquarius. That's really nice of you guys. Um, I had to put on my shades because the future's so bright. I gotta wear shades. I'm kind of excited about one more day of punishment. You know, hopefully I do the channel correctly now, and I don't get copyrighted anymore. I have taken trainings and things like that, so hopefully I'm able I'm able to keep it going, regardless. But I do understand that there are some people that have been um, flagging channels for content that they don't like that's being said, and they flag these channels for no reason. And do I believe that could be a possibility of what got me striked? Of course, anything's possible. Rondi says that guy on the chat today was so disrespectful to the girl. Rondi, they just boot you if you disagree. You know, I don't have a problem with other creators, other than if you're going to make it fair, YouTube, make it fair all the way around. Don't allow people to be talking all this garbage about all this stuff if you're not going to hold it all the way around. Like your Chroma channels, I mean, they're off the chain. They're off the chain. They talk about each other's private parts. They talk about veteran behavior. They talk about all kinds of stuff. But if you're gonna make it fair, all the way across the line. You know, and of course I can't play the Dateline stuff because y'all already know. But what I'm gonna tell you is this. You know, those of you that watched it, you remember hearing in the very beginning at the pool party. We didn't talk about this last night. If you remember, Brian was ogling at two women that were married. One of them motioned over to her boyfriend or to her husband to kind of rescue her, right? He went over there and started talking to Brian, and Brian, totally clueless to he didn't know how to read the situation. So what does he do? He kind of ignores the guy and goes and sits right next to the women who just went into the pool, the married women. So if that doesn't tell you how clueless he is about personal space and, hey, bro, they're married, you might leave them alone, you might not mess with them, this type of stuff. I don't know what will. I mean, I don't believe he's clueless. I believe he just don't give a F. What do you think, Nina? How you doing? You better?
Uh, yeah, is that better?
That's a little better. You're still kind of roboty though.
Okay, yeah.
Let's
I
try
don't
now.
know how to fix that.
Are you on your phone or on your
Yeah,
tablet?
I'm on my phone.
The one that
The
burnt
the
up?
static, the static was the tablet.
Are you the one that, on the one that burnt up or the government phone?
Um, the government phone.
Oh, okay, that's better. That's better.
Oh,
Just
it
kind
might
of
help. I get a little closer.
yeah, yeah, that's better. It was kind of a little thrown off there for a little bit, but you're good. Were
Okay.
you ever were you able to see the Dateline? Um,
Yes. Let's see. I found somebody. Oh, the one that Jeff posted that he found. I watched it.
okay. Yeah, a lot of them were blocked by NBC today.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the thing about it is, oh my gosh, this is just. I don't. I mean, like people are just losing their crap over nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about Tommy, and he's talking about, the guilters don't know how to investigate, and then we're over here going, those pro workers are idiots. They don't know how to investigate, and it's a
Hmm.
vicious cycle.
I mean, he supposedly has what, 21 investigators in the field?
Yeah, I mean,
Investigators. So he has
okay.
he has his own team just like the Idaho State Police and all that, right? Those
Yeah,
type of
okay.
investigators. Okay.
And I mean, they're like losing their heads because Dateline last night and everything. And the thing about it is, y'all, Dateline's big enough and got big enough attorneys that you can guarantee they didn't do anything they could get in trouble for.
How come people don't understand that the attorneys, the close people surrounding the case, the police, the investigators, those are the people that are gagged.
Right.
Not
Yes, exactly.
Dateline, not newspapers, not Howard Blum, not any of those people.
I mean, if you think about it this way, what's the difference in say whatever if I went and did something investigating and I found something and I put it out on my channel, right? Is that not the same thing that Dateline did? They went, they found it, they got it, they put it out, just
Right.
like we
I mean,
do.
they didn't
And they
say
probably got
that
more credibility.
they didn't say that what they were saying was factual. They said this is information that we have received from a source who is close to the case. So that could be anybody and anybody and everybody. You know what I mean? It's like Howard Blum
But
wrote
putting
a,
them
wrote
under
a
an
book.
order would be putting us under it.
Howard Blum wrote a book.
He should be gagged. I'm sorry.
Do what?
Nothing.
I didn't understand you.
We were talking about gag order, and you said Howard Bloom, and I said he needs to be gagged.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's all interesting. Um,
Well, see, they're not even upset about, you know, like they're upset because they're saying that it's going to steer the jury, because they're about to start picking people. And their biggest thing now is they want to investigate who gave them that information, who gave them his phone, who gave him, and it can only be the FBI, and they're going to prove
does it really matter at this point?
it.
Does it?
But that's their big problem. They're calling for a mistrial because of it. And I was like, come on, y'all, we've got creators that's got over here telling all the means, with everybody involved. And what's the difference?
You'll never
I
guess
mean,
who just emailed me back. She
who?
is she is a news anchor or
She's
news
a what?
reporter. She's a news reporter on News Nation.
Oh my gosh.
She asked me when do I do panels, and I was like, I didn't answer yet.
Right now?
She's on right now.
What, do we need to let you go?
Oh no, not at all. But I will answer her once I get my other channel back. That way I got something set up for Wednesday for any of you guys that are free. I'm gonna be discussing the tourniquet killer, which was an individual here in Texas that was a killer
Oh,
with what is that called?
mhm.
Where you get a rope, kind of like John Wayne Gacy did, and you
You're
twist
right.
it. Yeah, you do that. This individual,
Yeah, and you
the
tighten it.
individual that I'm going to be interviewing on panel is he's been an investigator. He's been all kinds of stuff with this case. He's a member of Crime Stoppers now. He does a panel with mothers who lost children in the Houston area. Um, so Wednesday night we had that planned for about 7 o'clock Central. So if you guys are available on my other channel, I'm gonna be cranking that out. So Nina, you're welcome to be, you know, in the chat, and if he's okay with somebody else being on panel, I don't mind having you up. Okay.
Oh, Gage, no, you don't have to do that. I will be in chat supporting you. This is your
But I
show,
mean,
honey.
I think it'd be nice. I think it'd be pretty cool to introduce you to about the families
Oh,
that have lost children, like the murdered children
right,
part.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy,
Yeah,
that goes right
you're
in there.
right. You're Yeah, Garrett, you're right, Rondi. Anthony Shore. That is exactly who that is. That dude's a piece of work. Leslie and Billy's here. How are you doing, Leslie? I'll be so happy I won't have to tell you guys where to find me. Y'all will already know. And since I've been on my hiatus, I've had a multitude of new subscribers. And I bet they're wondering where the hell is this guy? Does he ever go live? So what do you think about the StreamYard procedure yesterday, Nina? Did you learn anything about,
What is
sharing stuff and things like that?
No, I found out that it shows up on YouTube because I put one up today and it was like learning, and I didn't know. I titled it and I'm like Aquarius. I think it was Aquarius or might have been Bullets. Bullets. She asked if she missed my live, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, I saw that too. I was like, Nina went live? Wow. Texas, I don't know. That whole thing, I was watching that.
What
They
the
all
hell,
together.
CJ done?
I don't know who started that whole thing. I think it was that guy Mark B way back when Jeff was on my panel. And I wish I could find that video. It just take too long to go through all that to find that video where I can show you exactly where everybody um, had the misconception about the colors. I believe most of you were in chat that day, right? We're in that
Yes.
live when Jeff started playing with that camera and
Yep.
he started showing the camera and how it changed colors with different things. And, Nina, if you want to talk a little bit, I could find that video and we can kind of show that to kind of kind of break and debunk that crap.
Yeah, because you're gonna leave me up here by myself.
You're not
I'm
up there by
shy
yourself.
in
Uh,
Jeff's basement. Well, somebody's in Jeff's basement.
in Jeff basement. Yeah, that's where we were.
Oh, okay. I'm at my
He was
mom's.
handing out a little basket with some lotion, asking us to put the lotion in the basket. Put the lotion in the basket.
Leslie, I'm so sorry.
See, I need to start labeling these better with with the name of exactly what it is that I talk on in the videos. I thought I did pretty good, but obviously not. So what
Yeah,
was
see, I
going
found.
on last night? What was going on last night with that person that kept typing in all caps?
Oh, you're talking about inspiration.
Yeah, who was that?
I don't know who it was, but whoo, Lord have mercy.
She kind of rubbed you the wrong. Oh, that guy that I'm gonna have on my panel on
Yeah,
Wednesday. He also has investigated the killing fields.
no way.
Yeah, so he will be able to discuss some of that. I think he's
Yeah,
investigated all kinds of Texas serial killers and murderers and all kinds of stuff.
and so that's Wednesday. I hope
Wednesday.
you're going to start promoting it.
I'm not promoting it yet. I can't.
Why?
I don't go
Okay.
off. I don't go off
Stuff.
penalty. I don't go off penalty till tomorrow. So probably the
I,
earliest that I can stream would be Monday.
okay,
You know,
so that's a he. So you didn't tell us the she then.
do what?
You let us know about the he Wednesday, right?
Oh, about the she. I'm gonna keep that
Yeah.
under
So,
wrap. I'm gonna keep that
huh?
under wrap because it seems like
Okay.
every time that I divulge a big name like that, lately somebody has went behind my back and scheduled them with them. So,
What?
so I don't trust people in that regard. Of course,
Just
yeah.
let everybody know he ain't
But
talking about me.
no, not you. I thought that was pretty awesome. You got JB on your damn panel. God,
Honey, we're doing
that
it
was,
again this week.
that was impressive, man.
We are. We're doing it again this week. You ought to come on panel with us. He is a hoot.
When are y'all doing it? Because I'd love to be on panel.
Well, we were supposed to go live today, and so yesterday I was in when I got my wrench. I got a wrench from him, and so I told him. I said, "Are you ready?" And he said, "Yeah." What day? What time? And then somebody came in and rubbed him the wrong way, and I was like, "Okay, I gotta go. You just let me know when, and we'll do it." So I'll talk to him probably tomorrow.
Somebody rubbed him the wrong way, huh?
Yeah, and I mean, do you know why he doesn't go on people's panels?
Because of
Because he doesn't want that creator to get any kind of grief because of his behavior. And I'm gonna tell you what, a lot of people he rubs the wrong way and everything. What I like about him is like somebody told him something about he has no integrity, and he was like, "You can't judge my integrity. That's based on my own morals." And I'm like, "Wow, that was pretty profound there." I mean,
I mean, he is an educated man. That's why I like to listen to him. I
yeah,
think
he's got 3 degrees.
okay, that that's not the one. Go ahead. You're doing well. You're doing well.
Oh,
I'm gonna find
but
this.
so the huh?
I'm gonna find.
Have you heard the Snack Boat song?
I think we need
The
to have
snack cake song
Leslie and Billy up on that panel.
right now? Let's do it.
No, not now. Like
Oh,
when you have JB Gunner up there.
hey, hang on. Let me shut my door. My dog just opened it.
Bullets, you found us. Leslie, you were being verbally attacked last night. What chat?
Oh, I was mad.
What part of last night's chat did y'all enjoy the most? What we were talking about the Dateline episode. What was it that you may have had questions on? Because I know Rebecca was asking about Xana and how she was up and down the stairs,
Right,
and I kind of figured that out today because last night we weren't saying Maddie and Kaylee were being attacked. Xana was in
right.
the kitchen. She came up the stairs, heard what was going on. He heard her, stopped what he was doing, and they think that's when he dropped the sheath. And then he
Oh,
ran after her to her room. So that's when um that's when he attacked her.
oh, okay.
I mean, we were getting all kinds of confused with that last night, and I was, to be honest, I wasn't certain what they meant by that, but I do understand it now. I mean, listening to that Dateline, you hear so much stuff, like when he was at the pool party. Also,
Right. He was
get
being
this.
a big old player.
What'd you think about when that guy said we were on that hiking trail with that girl that he got the phone number from? She said
Right,
she was in a hiking group. Do you think he
right.
was looking for her, like scoping out
I
hiking
thought about
trails?
that.
Huh?
I thought about that last night because
Because
I
he
remember.
said he said he was going out there when it was already getting dark by
Right.
himself. Go ahead,
But the
you
thing
thought
about
about that.
it is, I mean, I guess people like us would think like that. But I thought about the same thing, you know. He was already out there hunting the girl on the hiking trail.
I mean, I heard that today and I was like, whoa, I didn't catch this last night.
Right.
But what would he have been doing on a hiking trail by himself late at night?
Well, that's the reason the guy was like, you know, they were just sort of kind of shocked, you know, but maybe shocked to them ain't shocked to somebody else. I mean, you know, because there's a whole lot of behavior that he's had in the past and people just won't accept it. So,
I wonder why that is. I mean, I just don't understand that.
I
No.
never realized how deep it was. I
I
mean,
mean, denial is an ugly thing.
but come
There's
on,
a difference between stupidity and denial.
it's not even that. There is a line that it's like cultism or something. I mean, they may as well just be part of a cult.
So, what do y'all think about that, chat? What I just said, where he was out late at night hiking this trail, and they said whenever um he came upon or they came upon him, he acted like they were best of friends,
Right.
and they hardly remembered him, but he remembered them as if they were best
Yep.
friends,
Yep.
and they wondered what he was doing out there all by himself. Now, people are going to say, well, it's not against the law
Yeah.
to be out late at night hiking on a path.
Hey, Jeff.
Yeah,
I don't.
us again, trying to get some of that Jeff money.
Yeah, really.
Jesus.
My GoFundMe is.
Jeff didn't even put up his tip jar, and he was just like ching 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 ching. Boy,
I know, boy. I mean, did you know that Gunner? That is what he when we did that live. he said, I noticed that you not monetized. And I said, no. And he said, you can put a tip jar up. Because I didn't know that's how he does it.
Yeah, there's a way to link your channel to a tip jar, and people
Yeah.
can like send money through that. I tried to do that, but I forgot the passwords and all kinds of stuff, and then it just annoyed me. And I said, it's not worth all that drama.
Right.
Is it just me, or does 12 gauge have a lot of freaking videos?
Hey, the one that you're hunting, Jeff H. may know how to get a if he's got a copy.
This is true. Jeff, do you remember that video of when we were playing around in your basement with the camera? Do you remember what that video title was called?
Crickets.
I should have put I should have put camera or something on it. That was a high ranking video. Well, there's one, Look Talk Linda Lane 17, but that's a recent one. That's 2 months ago. That one was last year.
Yeah, it was a long time ago.
That's when I still had Swamps people still coming in here, you know?
Nah, nah, nah.
You notice Swamp and AR and Dago's chat now?
I don't go in Dagos.
Well, I don't either, but I like to look around, I like to take a look around
Oh,
the YouTube
yes, you
street.
do. You are definitely a lurker.
Do what?
I said you are definitely a lurker.
Yeah, I am a lurker.
And
A
hey,
holy
Nina, I saw
shit.
you there. All I did was wave, Gage. I promise.
I'm a smoker. I'm a choker. I'm a midnight toker.
Rondi's a lurker.
Who is?
Rondi.
Rondi's a lurker. I
Ooh,
bet we're
Texas
I bet we're
freak.
all I bet we're all lurking. We don't even know we're all sitting behind the bushes looking at the same damn thing half the time.
You go, Aquarius. Can I have some of that willpower?
Aquarius has her own channel going on. She don't have
I
time to lurk
know.
anymore.
But I mean, she was like, I don't lurk now, I just don't watch. I was like, dang,
I
that
wish
would
I
be
had
too easy.
I wish I
That's
had
what I
that
said.
willpower.
Yeah, it's pretty sad. And that's the thing about it. I was going back and through some old videos, because I've been on YouTube so long. But and I remembered that AR had said that he was going to do a live one night, and because I did not know that he had lost his daughter, and he was going to tell us, the story of it and everything. And I think he got sick or something, but he never told it. So I was like, wow, I wish I knew now.
I didn't know AR had kids.
I didn't either.
I didn't even
Yeah,
know he had children.
the video that I did, the accountability and responsibility video, he had said that touched him, and we got to talking about it, and he said that I think she was 14, or she's either 14 or he lost her 14 years ago. You know what I'm
Aquarius
saying?
Aquarius, if you put your link in the chat, Bullet wants to know where your channel's called and where she can go and look. No, I didn't know he had a child. That's sad though.
Yeah, it is
To
sad.
lose a child, or to lose anybody that you're close to is sad. I mean, I don't care what people say as far as grief's concerned. It never gets easier, no matter what you tell yourself.
Right.
And the fact that people are still attacking these girls like they do, It just terrible. Just terrible. I mean, like that
Okay.
chat we were just talking about. What?
Because I could have sworn Aquarius's link said cannibalism.
Yeah, the cannabis one.
I was like, cannibalism?
I tripped out the first time I saw the name of her channel. I was like, what?
I was like,
What?
okay,
What?
I eat gummies.
I was like, do you got to be a smoker in order to go over there? I hope not, because I want to go see. I don't
Oh
have
man.
anything against people that smoke. I mean, whatever they
I'm
do
that
with their lives.
I mean,
I'm the one
don't,
with the problem. I'm the one with the problem, not them. You know what I mean? So
don't track me down and try to take my ham hock. I'll be good.
I came across one with a meth pipe on the front of it. I'm like, what the fuck? What was I talking about there that day? So overall, what was your overall take on that Dateline article or video?
Oh, I mean, they dropped those booms.
Didn't you think that that
Like
was
I said
done
earlier,
well?
there's no difference in them doing it or us doing it or whoever doing it.
What'd you think about when they were walking to the house explaining it? Didn't that make a lot more sense to you in your mind? I mean,
See,
we've done the same thing, but to see somebody else do it, it kind of like, oh wow, that we're
that
right
was
on panel.
that was sort of kind of creepy.
Hmm.
It was creepy.
Of course. What creeped you out about that?
I guess because we talk about it so much that you can literally imagine it. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I mean, like on both ends of it, because then you're like, man, he's walking down through there and it's dark. And I mean, you're like, you sort of start trying to think about what he's doing, and then when he goes in the room or something, it's like, ugh, never mind, forget you. I'm knowing what they're doing. You know, because I mean, I guess I say I'm not emotionally attached, but I mean, I have to admit that, this case, you get attached to it.
Well, of course. It's easy to do. It's easy to do. And I thought whenever they were going through the house, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
And the fact
And,
that,
when he came up the steps and he turned and you could see in Maddie's room, I mean, I don't know how you were, but as soon as he hit that room, I was like, oh my God, she's just laying there. I mean, both of them, they have no clue. And then you sit there and I made I didn't mean to make a crude joke one night on your panel, but it was something along the lines of, think about it. At 4:12, Xana was on TikTok. 5 minutes later, gone. And I can't even, you think they had no clue. No clue.
whenever it's okay, I'm going to help you. Um, did he come back twice for Jenna? Like, he stabbed her the
See,
first time, obviously. And then did he come back?
see, in my theory, but I don't know as far as like the documented narrative, I guess you'd say. You know what I'm saying?
Well, let's go with what they said. What do you think? I mean, based on what they said, how does it make sense in your head?
Well, see, I've got Xana being attacked first.
You got Xana what?
I've got Xana being attacked first
Okay. Well, I could see
instead
where
of him.
you'd go. I could see where you go with that because, with it was stated at the very beginning. The dad said they didn't have he didn't have to go upstairs, right?
Right, right. And see, the thing about it is, okay, so she bends over, picks up the DoorDash. He puts the knife to her throat, takes her to the bedroom, and he realizes that Ethan's in the bed, and that's when his black and white brain goes haywire because he can't do gray. And I think that's when it all went wonky. And I think maybe he heard something upstairs or something like that. So he goes upstairs, and of course, we know how that ends up. And as he's coming back down the stairs, he hears whimpering and realizes that Xana has not gave up yet, and that he goes back in there, and I think he just says it to try to give her false hope.
Okay.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean, we all have our theories. You know what I mean? We all have our theories. I mean, I just believe that the girls upstairs were probably taken out first. Just the fact that the thud came from Xana's room. You know what I mean?
right.
I mean, but
Yeah, you're absolutely right, because if she had not gave up yet, she wouldn't have enough strength or anything to fight that second time.
I just don't know how. I mean, when you heard when you heard the Dateline thing when they talked about the camera picking up the whimpering, that's when I was
Yes,
wondering, was that when she had been already attacked, he killed Ethan, and she's
right,
whimpering, so he takes her out, she
right.
falls, the dog starts barking. Is that before, is that when he says, "It's okay, I'm going to help you"?
What, that's the last words that he says. So is
Okay,
I'm
so
going to say, yeah,
okay. So I believe that would have been the last of it right there, right
but
before he killed
truth.
right before he killed her.
Okay, but it's documented in the court documents that that's what he said, right? Because
Mhm.
Truth last night said something about get help or not. What was it? It wasn't, I'm going to help you. It was something else. Jeff and Truth was talking about it, and I was like, wow,
Yeah, Jeff
that makes
said
a lot of sense.
something, "I would never let something hurt you," or something like that. Jeff
Yeah,
was saying
something
about
like
that
that.
movie. Yeah,
Oh, no one can help.
or no one can help you. Yeah.
And so I was like, wow. But they've got it in Dylan's statement, I guess, as I'm here to help you.
I mean, I believe that Dylan probably heard more, and she was probably that source that they were talking about.
Right,
She probably heard Xana running up the stairs. I wouldn't put it past her.
right.
I mean, that's just sad to think about. But if you hear
Oh, yeah,
somebody running up the stairs, you're thinking, "Oh, that's nothing. They're just messing around upstairs." You know what I mean?
right. And, I was thinking about it too, because they say that there's three sets, right? The down, up, and down, or up, down, and up, whatever.
Yeah, there's
And
8 steps at the bottom, 9 steps at the top.
yeah, but what I'm saying is they said she ran up. No, yeah. Anyway, she did it in a three-step, right? She ran
Mhm.
up, she ran down. But then didn't they say that she ran back up
I'm trying to
or
think.
something? No, no, it is, she ran down, up, and down, because I said, well, how do you know that that wasn't her running down to get the DoorDash?
Do you believe that she ever ate her DoorDash?
No,
Because it sounds like she got killed really quick, not long after she got it.
right, yeah, I know, I don't think so.
That
I mean,
just
it's just,
go
golly,
ahead.
you can't take the next breath for granted.
I
Sorry.
mean, she's getting the DoorDash, and then next thing you know, like you said, she's fighting somebody off.
Right. I mean, that's the thing about it. I mean, I was listening to everybody last night, and it finally dawned on me, because they said that she was probably in the kitchen, that she had just got her food, and maybe was getting napkins, and that she heard something upstairs, and that's when she went upstairs. But
Mhm.
the three sets could have been Xana going up, Xana coming back down, but now Xana has a tag along chasing her, which would be a third set because he's
Mm.
chasing Xana.
Well, I was thinking when they were describing that in that Dayline thing, Ethan must have been highly intoxicated.
Oh
Not to
yeah,
hear. I mean, you don't think she called out to him? You don't think that she ran in there? Yeah, kind of Ethan, 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 and then you know.
the thing about it is sometimes it just won't come out.
Well, yeah, we were talking about that last night.
Yeah, I mean that's the only if she's running and not swimming, then she's just in shock and it won't come out. But you got to consider, it's a big house, but it's a little house. You know what I'm saying?
Well, of
And
course.
so the running wouldn't take a whole lot of time. I mean,
Hold on a second. I gotta plug my laptop in. Keep them busy, Nina.
keep them busy. My gosh, I've been jibber jabbering this whole time.
Hold on. I'm just plugging in my laptop.
My goodness, you're pulling me.
I
12,
was
can
un-
you read the question?
I was unaware that it was unplugged. What are they saying in the chat?
Rondi Potter has a question. I'm trying to find it for you.
Did she run down to get food and ran back up and Brian running down?
Yeah. Don't you
She
think?
ran she ran she ran down to get the food, ran back up. It just sounds so freaking confusing just thinking about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but see that the third one, I guess that's what I was trying to say is if you think about it, you hear the foot here, the foot number one, and then the other direction, foot number two, right? But
Yeah.
now this time there's a third foot that's coming behind them, so that would give you your three times what it would seem like three times. I know what I mean. I don't know how to say it.
I'm listening to you. I'm just
Brian heard her and ran down.
okay. Brian heard her and ran down.
Right. Because if she went up and she went down, then there's two, right?
Yeah.
But then he hit her and he ran down, so there's three.
It's
Am I making any
confusing the
kind
way
of
it's confusing the way that's presented.
right?
Now I'm sounding like those other people. It doesn't make sense. It's confusing. I don't understand it.
Didn't they know they were supposed to write it for us?
Gosh, there are just so many videos.
Have you not found it yet?
No. It has to be
My,
a long it had to be a long one because I think we were on there for like 4 hours. It did one of these 4 hour ones.
Oh yeah.
But Jeff and I used to go 3, 4 hours a night on this in the beginning anyway. So there's a lot of this.
Hey, some of those came with some really good conversation and ideas and stuff like that.
Yeah, those long ones.
Yeah,
Yeah, there's a lot of great stuff.
there's a lot of knowledge there.
I just don't remember. I'll find it whenever I'm not looking for it.
And oh my gosh, Gage, speaking of Jeff, how awesome was that last night? I mean, I told him, I said, yeah, but we may have created a monster. I mean,
What
because
did
he
he
was so
say?
calm. I mean, just like he had been doing it 3 years. What?
I'm here.
Oh, I thought the devil had joined.
I ought to just pick one of these and we go over it. but there's, but it's so premature. Like all these things that we talked about in the very beginning. I mean,
Oh
him and
my,
I used to talk for hours and hours and hours. You know.
shower curtain.
See, I can't even find that one, and that one was a long one too.
Uh-huh.
I wonder if YouTube
Y'all,
deletes that.
I didn't know somebody could talk that long over a shower curtain.
We did talk a long time about that shower curtain,
And
and that's
then
where
the conversation went on for weeks later.
I mean that's where a lot of this stuff that's being said right now. I'm not trying to be the one of those people that said, "Oh, they got it from me" or whatever, but we would talk about this stuff for hours, and there would be a lot of people in those chats, and they got a lot of information. They can't say they didn't.
Oh
You know,
yeah, yeah,
when we're linked up with AR and Swamp and all their
yep,
people that used to come in here, they
yep,
got a lot of information, a lot. And they can't say that
yeah,
they
yeah,
didn't.
because they're still
What?
using it.
Yeah,
I mean, we are the gift that keeps on giving. Rondi says, Nina, you heard that too. What did I
heard
hear?
what? What'd you hear?
That's what Rondi said.
What'd you hear? Oh, Brian heard her and ran down. Okay,
Yes,
three
yes.
times. All right. And once again, I am not
Oh,
talking
no,
bad
no.
about. I
I
am not
said the
talking.
devil.
Go ahead.
Yeah, she's not talking about that. She's talking about a minute ago when I said I thought the devil was here. It was
Oh,
that girl like devil sound.
oh. And once again, I'm not talking down on those creators. I'm just saying that there was a lot of people in these chats and they were going around a lot of theories. And we would sit there and talk about it for a very long time. And,
Oh yeah.
you know, it's interesting to me that I hear some of the stuff that we used to talk about floating around now. Like here's one we're talking about the Elantra. And
Well, I mean, come on now.
we talked
Oh
about the
man.
Elantra for like. We did more than one on the Elantra. We did like
Like
5,
3 years.
I think we did like 5 on the Elantra.
Right. Why my dog bark?
Do you ever feel like people regurgitate some of your stuff that you've said?
You know, that sounds so arrogant. You know what I'm saying? I mean, because I don't
Well, I'm
want to,
not
I'm like, you, I don't want to be like, oh, they got that from me. You know, I mean, because it just sounds so, you know what I'm
I'm not
saying?
I'm not meaning it like that though. I'm meaning it
Yeah,
like do you ever hear your your thoughts that you've never heard before you had started pushing it, and then now it's a thing.
Oh, well, I'll go one step better is that happened, but they pushed me out of my own story because I was supposed to be on the live.
They did what?
They went with the information that I was going to do on the live, and then I got pushed from the live, but they still had it.
Wow.
And now that's just wrong. Don't take my stuff and kick me to the curb too.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna use your stuff, and by the way, get out of here. Let me see
Yeah.
if I let me see if I can make this one bigger. If I can, I want to play this one right here because this one has some good information.
I like that wall.
It's private, and I can't unprivate it because
Uh
because
oh.
I'm in trouble. Let me see if I can
Mm-mm.
open it up to a different link. It sucks being in trouble, Nina. Oh, here it is. Here it is right here. Because the first couple days you're just kind of like, F the world, I want to be a rebel, blah blah blah. And then
Right.
the longer you go on, the more you're like, I'm sorry, let me come back. you know, you know what I mean? It's like I
I
didn't
know what
mean
you
it.
mean.
I didn't mean it. Let me come back.
Exactly. And then when you come back, it's like, damn it, I'm giving it up anyway.
I hated that damn thing anyways. I didn't know if I was gonna continue, type crap.
Right.
Let me see if I can put you on here. Hold on. I didn't like that anyways. I didn't like YouTube anyways. I was gonna quit anyways.
Exactly.
This
Exactly.
had this had some good stuff on it, and um, I think this is where they got that. No, that's the Sigma Chi crap. I have Golf Inspector on this one.
Ah.
I know. Maybe this isn't the one I meant to. Yeah, I wanted to show this right here because look at that map. Okay, with all the cameras that we know, found the route of which he was going. There's one on
Yeah.
Ridge Road, right? Because here's Walinta. There's Lauder Avenue,
Yep.
and there's Steiner. So the gas station is right here, right? White
Yes.
Avenue. There's that gas
Yes.
station. So all this route, there must have, and you've showed me that that PowerPoint with all the cameras. You know,
Right.
um,
Yeah.
there's a lot of them over there in this neighborhood. Do you remember
Uh,
seeing that?
yeah, and I think all total they've got over 100 cameras.
There's a lot of them. I didn't watch a lot of it because I had a lot of things going on at that time. I heard it was on White Avenue, Cross Highway onto Steiner. Okay, so that would have been going toward the house, right? Good thought, Heather. Why speed before the crime even happened so that your killer plan is interrupted or even totally blocked by being involved in a traffic stop for speeding? That's a great thought. See, these comments like this, it makes you wonder how you see the total opposite now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Like this right here, she's not even being that person that she is today. And I
Right.
have a lot of these types of comments from people, and they've totally flipped their side and everything else. But like she said, why speed before the crime even happened so that your killer plan is interrupted or even totally blocked by being involved in a traffic stop? And obviously he sucked at driving, right?
You ain't kidding.
He kept getting pulled over. And last night
Oh,
they
yeah.
even talked about him almost running over somebody as he was
Yes.
leaving the neighborhood. Wouldn't that have been some shit? Not only
Right.
4 in the house, but you're running over 1 on the way out of the neighborhood. So that's 5. If that person died, that's 5 murders right there in
Right.
one. Can you imagine that? What do y'all
I
think about
mean,
that, chat?
but that's okay. He really wasn't going that fast. Um, Pavioli announced that today that they studied the textbook.
I like this part right here because this is part of the evidence that they've gathered, I'm sure.
Right.
And I think that Jeff and I were talking about this piece of paper right here as it being like having names on it or it having like an outline of the house. Let me
Right.
see what this gauge person had to say.
And number 4 got interjected together, that would be the contamination. That would be the contamination. So when you're processing a crime scene, you have to be very thorough on how you document this. There's a chain of custody form. And let me see if I can pull another thing up while I'm at this.
I'm not going to strike myself, so I'm just going to let it play. Are you cool with that?
I'm cool with that.
Because some of these old videos are pretty damn good, if I say so myself.
I'm watching for
Good
Prince.
Lord, I just pulled something up and it just totally grossed me out. I'll definitely get banned off YouTube if I show these. Let me go back and
See, I'm worried about it right there, huh?
Right.
good Lord.
I think I just get too cocky and I get too complacent, and that's what gets me in trouble. That addict in me.
It doesn't even seem like they should go together. Cocky and complacent.
It cracks me up when you type something into Google and it just takes you somewhere else. And you're
Is
like,
that the real
whoa,
fake?
I didn't want to see that. So
Texas says I've almost bet my life on it. I've seen it too many times.
I'm going to try to get one of these to show.
I mean, listening to what we heard last night, I think this blueprint's going to be part of the
Okay,
evidence.
got it.
Do you
So
think he stripped
let
down?
me stop sharing that one so y'all understand the process of tagging and bagging, right?
Tagging?
So let me show you this portion right here.
Look at that dude. Hey, what's up, 12?
Based on them finding the bodies, okay? Them finding the bodies, they would have had to fill out one of these forms. And I have another video on my library that defines this a little more clearly. But it would, before they're even autopsies, they would have all this filled out. They would show the front where the wounds were, the back where the wounds were. They were go into detail, whether it be the head, the upper exterior, the trunk, the sacrum, lower exterior, the ankle. And it would actually show a lot of information that would be usable upon the autopsy. And there's some of the ones that I was talking about. But if you can,
It's just darker camera. It makes me look younger. I got the camera all up in my face right now. I mean, not the camera, the lighting. It was kind of a dim lighting going on there, so it made me look a little younger. Isn't that true, Nina?
That's absolutely right. That's right. I sit in the dark.
That piece of paper that I just showed where they were going to be filling out all that information, that
Mm-hmm.
is usually filled out at the autopsy or at the time of the crime. Like at the time of the crime, if they are investigating and filling out where the wounds were, that you've seen in other crime shows, I'm sure, where they show you the front, the back, and all the wounds, and they diagram all that stuff.
Yes.
That's what I was talking about right there.
So I
Look
want to
at
know
this.
what picture you're gonna get in trouble for showing.
I don't know.
Hazing and rush week. Yes, I have. In my opinion, he might not have even put one up. He could have just like Moth's bath, where it could have been no shower curtain in the bathroom. That's meant for that second bathroom was locked because there was only one tenant in the apartment. Very true. I guess the question I'm asking is, do you believe that he took the shower curtain to drape in his trunk to possibly
Shower.
assist with the, the gathering of evidence, like, to keep the DNA, the blood, all that stuff from dripping on his car? Do you think he could have
He used
used that for that situation? I just believe that, being a former college student, we get those cheap shower liners and those cheap shower curtains, and by the end of the semester, those things have already busted out of the rings. They're
Why are you laughing? Because this is like way back when? Why are you laughing?
you get the cheap ones.
Do what?
You get the cheap ones if you're going to use it in the bucket. That's what you said. You go and get a cheap one.
Of course. Why? I was going to get the cheap shower curtain.
Oh my gosh.
Can't hear you though. I'm on a phone call. Oh.
they're not any good. And since they were
What?
so cheap, we just gather them, throw them away, get another cheap pair for the next semester. Does that sound pretty adequate? Those of you that have lived in dorms and off-campus housing, you live as cheaply as possible,
Cheap as possible, right?
Sarah, I agree with you. There has been a lot of things said and videoed at the beginning that now have disappeared.
Oh, you don't even know, Sarah. Sarah's still around, I
I
think,
still have
right?
a very hard time that he even did this.
Look at that. Ronnie Potter, for sure.
Susan, just for the sake of discussion, okay? Not that I'm attacking you or anything else, so don't take it that way. Um, what makes you have a hard time that he even did this? Can you give me some insight on that so I can maybe get your perspective on this? Jeremiah says, what
Count.
makes you think he used his shower curtain? I really don't. I was just saying that I've heard other people in other panels and chats talk about that. That he could have used his shower curtain as a way to line.
Oh, come on, Susan. First time he lived away from home, in my opinion, he had no clue what he was going to need. Well, most people know that when you move into an apartment, you're going to need shower liners, shower curtain, soap, shampoo, dish soap, two or three dishes, two or three utensils, couple cups. The very basics, right? Am I wrong, Nina?
Either his feet or his trunk where he carried all the stuff.
Not enough
And that's
evidence.
what,
Boom! I
yeah,
bet
that's what
there
I've
is
heard.
now,
I'm not saying he
Susan.
did that. I said that he probably got a cheap set by the end of the semester, that thing's falling apart. They're not holding in the rings, and you're frustrated. And you're like, man, I'm not putting up with this. Next semester, tear it down, grab you a new set when the semester starts. Just leave it, throw that in the trash, and move on. That's what I thought about the shower curtain. But a lot of people, when they find out that the shower curtain was missing, they instantly started speculating and putting things together in their mind that would have nefariously meant that he did something with that shower curtain. Susan says, first time he lived away from home.
So, chat, I wanna take a poll here. Now that we know what we know, do you believe he used the shower curtain, or he did not possibly use the shower curtain to get himself stripped down with no evidence, no nothing? Do you believe that he used the shower curtain as a device to get out of his bloody clothes? What do you think, Nina? You're still muted.
I don't, golly, I can go either way on that. I don't, a shower curtain? I mean, just go get drop cloths that they used to paint with.
Because you
That
know
would
how last night they were talking about him getting out of the house and supposedly stripping down.
yes,
Do you believe that that's when he would have used the shower curtain?
that's a possibility.
I think the dog agrees.
Right,
I mean, because in an episode, Jeff and I were discussing. He had said, how surfers they use the blue tubs. They climb in the blue tub. They strip everything down. They put the blue tub like the Rubbermaid tub. They put that in the trunk. That made a lot of sense to me because when I heard that, I was thinking, man, that would have been a quick way. You put everything in there, you put the top on it, there's nothing escapes out of it. But I
right.
never saw where the shower curtain would have played a role. I mean, those things are cheap. They're not going to hold up. I mean, they're really cheap. It's almost paper thin type stuff.
But if you're stepping into a bucket, what do you need the shower curtain for?
Right. Just one more thing to get rid of. You're right. I mean, you want to limit the kind of activity that you're having to do because you only have so much time and you're trying to get out of there as quick as possible. As we saw in that, him leaving, almost running someone over, he was trying to get out of there as quick as possible. So it's not like people insinuate, they say that he took his time and all this other stuff. It didn't look like he was taking his time to me.
My opinion, he had no clue what he's going to need. And you said not enough evidence. Well, a lot of the evidence that they do have has been dispelled along the way. So there's a chance that you could be right. If he was involved, I can't believe he was alone, just my opinion. And you're more than welcome to that. You're more than welcome to that. Who am I to argue with you about?
Yeah, I agree with you on that, Texas. He got out of that, whatever he wore into that house, no doubt. What happened to the sound? Where'd you go, 12?
Thing like that? I ask a lot of questions because I want to see how your mindset thinks. God, that sounded creepy. Just you pull it off the ring or you tear it and
Okay,
has
let's
to
see.
be involved in the crime. Welcome, Jeff. How you been, buddy? So, you know, I had a picture of Brian up here and I had him up here for a reason. Um, I'd asked a lot of people, and I ask a lot of questions, not because I'm trying to trick people into saying um, what I want them to say or anything like that. I ask a lot of questions because I want to see how your mindset thinks. God, that sounded creepy just then. But I want to see how you think and feel about certain things that are shown to you. Kind of like in that picture, you saw Brian, and it obviously he was a right-handed person. He's a right-handed person. Do you believe that they will be able to tell what hand the perp was? Like what handed person, if he was right-handed, left-handed, based on the knife wounds?
That's a good question.
There's that picture again. Hope that don't get me booted again. I don't know. Da-na-na-na-na-na-na. um,
This dude does ask some good
well, you
questions.
guys be careful, Jeff. Susan says, but one thing that really blows my mind is AT on his other lawyer stated in open court that he is innocent. The defense lawyers don't do that. Shower curtain. I think maybe when his dad showed up, he said, "That thing is disgusting. Get rid of it. We'll buy you a new one when you're at home." Yeah. I mean, what could be wrong with just thinking that way?
Okay. I want to talk about that for a second. I've heard that many multitudes of times. But his lawyer sat there and proclaimed his innocence. Attorneys don't do that. Attorneys would not do that. Okay. Well, I challenge you creators to tell me a reason that they wouldn't. Don't just give me a blanket statement like that. If you're going to stick to his attorney would not do that, then give me the rest of the story. What does she have that she has not presented that identifies that this man is innocent? Other than every motion she has tried to suppress, every motion of or every motion in limine that she's tried to get rid of or put in, everything's been denied. So, if she still believes he's innocent, I challenge you to show me how you come to that understanding. No, no angry words here. No, none of that. I really want to know how you come to that. That since his attorney has stated that he's innocent, then he must be innocent. Would you not want an attorney that believed in your innocence rather than your guilt? Does that not sound like common sense to you? Without making some shit up? Yeah. I mean, honestly, how, you know, I'll ride with you. I'll roll with you on anything you got to say. As long as you show me from point A to point C. A plus B equals C. Show me how that correlates together. Don't show me she has never stated one word in any of these documents or any of these court proceedings about a green Elantra. Even when she said we have new information that there could be alternative suspects that need to be investigated. She did not go into there could be possibly a different suspect vehicle number one. She did not do that. But yet today I was listening to somebody talking about how they're going to introduce the lime green Elantra as the alternative suspect number two. That's not possible. That's not possible. And it's almost like You see something, you incorporate it, and you want it to be so true that you stick with this denial factor no matter what people show you. There's a process in this court proceedings. If you haven't seen that by now, then you don't understand the court proceedings. You don't understand the judicial system. You cannot just demand certain things and they happen because you believe that this is true. There must be evidence one way or the other. And for all the people that have stated there's never been any evidence other than the DNA on the knife sheath, they didn't even have the car right. They don't have him in the house. So your butt print on a chair doesn't show that you were there? You don't think there was any possible fibers or anything that were left on that chair when he sat down, arrested for a minute, supposedly? No? I mean, we've learned so much as far as his circumstantial evidence, as far as his internet digital history, you know? And the fact that you guys continue to blab out the 3 unknown DNAs it just comical to me at this point. First, the reason that they didn't continue to test those is because there was a party there the night before. Think about all the DNA that they must have tested in that household between Maddie's room, Kaylee's room, down those stairs, through the living room area, Xana's room, and even possibly the kitchen. Think of all the DNA that they had to process. And they find a blood smear on the freaking hand railing. They find a glove out front. Okay. Well, the reason that they didn't test that glove is because supposedly the killer didn't run out the front door. The killer went out the back. So if they would have found that glove out in the backyard, you can bet your ass that they would have done extensive testing on that DNA. If there was any DNA, and it would have came back to whoever. But since it was in the front yard, the relevance and proximity of the crime did not match up. The blood on the handrail, depending on how old that blood was, told a lot. Still, the proximity between that handrail and the crime scene was not directly in the variance where it needed to be tested, especially if they knew that this individual wore gloves. Why would you test something more than once if the individual that committed the crime Jeffrey, you're killing me, bro. Hey, you want to go live? I'm asking Jeff if he wants to crank the camera up and do another live with it. Because think about that. I saw it. I saw it, Jeff. So think about that, what I'm talking about. You know, if these unknown DNAs were in proximity to the crime scene, then they would have had extensive correlations to be um, looked in at further. Since they weren't directly close to the crime scene, there's a reason why they probably were not even seen as person of interest or anything like that. And it's common knowledge. I mean, you learn that in criminal justice 101. You know, it's not something that is nefarious and, they're just trying to hide these DNAs. Hell, I'm sure they have a bill for the DNA that they have had to look at. I'm looking at my grades here, so y'all hang on a minute. I just got the paper that I did the other day graded, so I want to know how I did on it. Okay, I can dig that. I can dig that. I knew it wasn't going to be perfect. I can dig that grade. Anyway, Jeff, if you want to come up, you're more than welcome. Crank up the camera, and we can have we can have another camera show because you still have the same type of stuff down there in their basement, I'm sure. So we can just reenact what we did once without Twizzle, which doesn't bother me. A chat that she was in. Oh, sorry, Jeff. My bad. That's not the link to StreamYard. My bad. I sent you a link to the YouTube. A chat I was in today said DNA didn't mean Brian was in the house. Jackass. Um, yep. This case had jackasses and jackasses. Yeah. Idiots is giving them giving them too much credit. Um, Jeff says he's on the phone, so I'll continue this on. But I just wanted to talk about those 3 unknown DNAs.
How come it has to be involved in the crime? Like a Rorschach test. They'll probably try to call him ambidextrous. Good to see you. Good point, Paula. So think about that. Jeff and I had talked about the shower curtain a lot of times in one of our videos, and we even, we started making jokes about it because at one point you have to, hey Swamp Rose, you have to ask yourself, does this really make sense, or are we putting too much thought into it? And I think we came to the conclusion that it was just a dirty shower curtain, and he just took it down and got a new one for the next semester. I mean, that's the logic of it all. Those of you with kids that you go to print.
Okay, I want to go with this next
because
one.
you could get the dirty sheet off, and the next thing you know, you're ripping more than you need, or it gets caught in the other stuff. Let me show you some other pictures of what I'm talking about here.
See, at one point I had a lot of different people in this chat, and they were saying a lot of different things that they say now. They don't say half the stuff they say now. Then,
Okay. I just mentioned the boot print. Okay, and I've talked about that in another live. So
Hey, that's
if
a
you've heard
song.
it before, hang with me here. But I wanted to put this up here for.
That's a song. No more Mr. Nice Guy. So those of you that don't know about the boot print, this is was a boot print that was found in the backyard. and you probably can't see it unless you're watching this on a TV, because I can't zoom it in much bigger than it is. I mean, that's probably as big as I can make it. Um, but I talk about this boot print because this was part of evidence, is evidence marker number 3. And here we go.
For no other reason than to show the dirt around the shoe print. I heard that they have soil forensic that's able to identify the different layers of soil around this print. And if there was any traces of that on the boot that they found in his trunk, that could tie him into that area. And once again, I'm not saying he's guilty, okay? I'm not even saying he's the one. But if he is the one, there's very intricate areas of evidence that could get this individual caught, whoever.
So I thought that was a great point that I made right there, as far as the soil that they do, the soil samples of the forensic that they do. So if any of this soil was found in his car, this wouldn't be blood, this wouldn't be DNA. But if any of this was found in his vehicle and they could match it to the dirt or soil that was found at 1122, guess what? Then they found something in his vehicle that was not blood and was not DNA that tied him to the crime scene. You see how people work on words? I just did it right there. You get what I'm talking about? So when forensic individuals who work with I think they're called anthropologists, they work with the soil samples and stuff like that. Um, they're able to decipher soil samples from different variations of layers at a crime scene. So if they found any of this soil anywhere in that car, boy, it's cooked. He's cooked. You may not can place him in the house, but you placed him at the crime scene. So those people that say they didn't find any, they say they didn't find any blood or DNA in the car. Okay, I'll give you that. But this isn't blood or DNA, is it? And there's a reason that there's a big number 3 next to it. And I've always said that. People just don't listen to when, I mean, I know y'all do in the chat because you're, mods and you're my subs and stuff like that, but there's a lot of people that don't listen to what I say. I've been saying this stuff for a long time, and these videos prove it, because this video right here that I'm talking about was done 11 months ago. 11 months ago. And I will talk about this stuff. And you know how many views this got? 335. And the only reason it's on private is because I forgot to unprivate it. I was going to put in members only. I need to go into I'm not going to mess with the wrenches right now because I'll be back on my other channel, but he doesn't have a wrench on this channel like some of the other mods, because I didn't go in there and give them wrenches. He still has a wrench on my other channel. But does that make sense to you guys about the soil sample? That makes sense? Have y'all ever heard of that? Where people, they do forensic work on soil samples? And so if there's any dirt or samples that match this area and wouldn't match his yard, because I'm sure they probably took a sample from his yard and took a sample from here to cross-examine. So if this soil is different than the soil in front of his home, You can't say that, well, that's soil outside of my apartment.
Where it was. Look, here's a number 3. So this was a number 3. The little rolled up piece of paper with the number 4. So they found this evidence in sequence. Okay, they found this evidence in sequence. Just like I showed you, they find the evidence, they tag it, they take a picture of it, they video it. They may take a cast on this area. They may, and look at the cast based on what it looks like. So if you can see this, I can't get it much bigger. Let's see. That's as big as I can get without it started being distorted. Does this?
You're right, because those boots that they got when they confiscated the stuff out of his trunk, they did get some boots. They got a shovel. They got all kinds of stuff, which looking back on it now, hey, that could have been stuff that he used to bury the stuff or, you know, bury some evidence. And those boots, if they have any of this soil on the bottom of it, and they can place that soil to be the same soil as this is and not where he lives, then guess what? Then I just put you in the proximity of a quadruple murder. Yeah, it sure does, doesn't it?
This look like a boot to you? Has anybody ever wore those worker boots? Could this be a boot? I mean, surely they wouldn't have tagged it if it would have been a boot that they wear. You know what I mean? And that's some of the stuff that is seen as well. Um, they know the difference between, oh, so and so was here, so that's his boot. No, obviously they tagged it because there's nobody been in that area with that kind of boot on. Yeah, just like there's different pollen specialists and grass specialists and stuff for other types of points that are found. Water had different diomes, I think they're called. Very good, Heather. I never heard of the water part. Thank you. It's our opinions and speculations. We really have to go on. Social media will probably come out with more information. MPD could be a.
So why would this be speculation? There's a damn evidence tag next to it. How would this be speculation what I'm talking about? Because that's how they process the scene. I'm not making this stuff up. I mean, I didn't catch that comment before. I guess I was in a good mood that night. But how is this speculation? There's an evidence tag here. There was an evidence tag on number 4. This obviously is something of importance that they thought it was good enough to take with them and analyze it to see if this was the killer's boot print.
Dinker print. It looks like a boot. Heavy tread marks. I thought that too, Jeremiah. I really did because of this right here on the outside. This is where the boot tends to have a lot more of the gripping when you're wearing it, and the inside portion right here. And one thing that I noticed was this.
And I just thought of this, and this could be speculation. You know, if you're carrying something that's heavy or something that's obstructing your view a little bit, and you're trying to get out of there, you're going to be walking heel to toe to get better traction. And like I've always said, this heel is more indented than the rest of the boot print. The heel is indented as if this individual walks heel to toe. I hope that this makes trial because I'm going to be happy if it does. But it looks that way to me. You know what I'm talking about, guys? Like when you have something in front of you or you're carrying something that's kind of bulky and you're walking heel to toe because you're trying to not fall down. And we know that this area is right behind the couch area. So we know that there's a steep embankment right there. So you're not necessarily going to be walking on the balls of your feet and pushing up that hill if you're carrying something. Does that make sense? I hope it does because I just thought of that.
And I spoke on this on the last one, but I'm going to say it again. Notice how this individual, if you're looking at this, if there would have been deeper crevices toward the front, this individual walks with his toes. Since there's heavier crevices in the back, that tells you that this individual walks from heel to toe, not toe to heel. Does that make sense? Because look how deep that rut is. That means that there's more weight placed upon the back portion of the heel than is in the front. And I think that's very, very interesting to say the least. Yeah, could be hiking boots. Because wintertime could be a boot. Interesting point. And I thought that myself because, like, I played sports all my life, and we're constantly taught stay on the heels of our toes. So anytime that I walk, I notice that I go toe to heel, not heel to toe. So this portion walks heavy on the back of their heel and rolls their toe. And people are going to doubt me. They're going to say I'm full of crap or whatever, but that's just my impression of what this is. And I could be wrong. I could be wrong. What do y'all think, guys? What do y'all think as far as that theory? Do you think that this individual could potentially walk from heel to toe? A heavier walker? Swamp, are you still here? You want to give your insight on that? Do you think that that could potentially be a part of this? Boy, I apologize to those of you who tuned into the live a couple nights ago. Um, when I jumped up from the nap and I instantly went to the live, boy, I was out of it. I was out of it. And I was looking at the live and I was like, man, I sound like I'm drunk, like I'm hungover, something. I could not get my thoughts clear for nothing. And then I finally woke up and you could tell the difference. And Goff says it depends on the soil. If the soil is softer in the spot in one spot and harder in another, it's hard to determine. Very true. Very true. But that was just my impression of that. And I'm going to show you guys one more thing, and then I'm going to kind of sign off. I know we're enjoying this, but for anybody else who wants to see this from the beginning on, they're not going to want to watch 2 and 3 hour streams. I can always come back and do more on this. But I want to show you something that I wanted to show you guys the other night when I was like I'm talking about half asleep. I want to show you about the tire impressions, and I want to show you about boot impressions and how they gather evidence. Because I believe this is a very interesting concept. So let me stop sharing that and go to this other one. Are y'all still with me here? Y'all enjoying it? Put some number one if you're enjoying it. Hit a like if you're enjoying this. That print is from behind the couch. Okay, Miss My Keys. Very good eye. Yes, better weather. Yes, glad you're doing well, Golf. Um, let me show you this a little bit, how it's done. Footwear and track examination. I mean, I wish there was a way I could take myself off the stage
Whoa. I just knocked the damn whole live off. My bad. Sorry, guys. I'm still looking for that freaking, um, still looking for that damn live. Are y'all done, or do y'all want to do some more? Because I'm game. Keep going. It's only 8:45. Well, thank you for clearing that up.
Yeah, so if they don't know that they're being stalked, there is no fear of harm or death, right?
Well, she made a. I mean, I'm just going on the Gonsalves' statement. They said in the very beginning they didn't hear any information from Kaylee about a stalker. Yet they said all the survey questions did not necessarily have to do with facts or anything around the case. They just kind of red herring type question in there to see the truth. I don't remember the exact details about the survey, but I remember in my mind I thought about it like the Minnesota aptitude test. Yeah, those questions were kind of written like that, just to see your response. Like if you say you get a question asked of you, so if you wake up in the morning and you look out the window, what's the first color you see? And you have you been exposed to colors, right? You've been exposed to colors and you know your colors. What's the first color you see? And most people are going to say what? The sunrise, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am just giving y'all a lot of information here that I didn't even remember giving. I hope you are enjoying this. I know there's not many of us, but those of you that are watching this, thank you so much for continuing to be here. And then you incorporate that with some more questions to see exactly what this person understands as far as what you're trying to get to the end game. Are they going to be able to articulate their thought pattern to get to the end of the questions? Or are they going to run off in different directions and tell you 500 different stories about the colors they see? You're kind of gauging it with mental health as well, I would think, because you don't want a juror to be unstable and not be able to pay attention and focus on the topic, right? Wouldn't that be
Right.
correct?
Yeah, I guess it's an art. You know, there's an art to asking somebody something without influencing them. It's like asking
Yeah.
a child. It's like, well, tell me what you know about this made up Santa Claus. Boom! You just ruined it for them. And I hope nobody's kids are listening to this live stream. I
Right.
apologize. I truly apologize. But
This
you know,
channel has no affiliation with Jeff Ate the guitarist whatsoever.
remember that night when Jeff ruined Christmas?
Mom, did he say Santa Claus doesn't exist? That guy's that guy's weird. Don't listen to him. It doesn't mean they can't or won't insinuate surveying, watching peep and tomboyerism. Yeah, I mean, but how would you know whether this individual was peeping or whether he was? I mean, I think a lot of this came from the 12 previous pings that they talk about. I think they're trying to show a pattern as to, well, he was there 12 previous times, so he must have been stalking them. But Jeff made an interesting comment the other day to me. If y'all remember we're shifting gears here, okay?
Okay.
You remember the crosswalk traffic stop? Well, if you can watch that traffic stop, you see BK or Brian getting pulled over and he's talking to the officer. Well, right before he really started talking to the officers, there's like an Asian
girl that walks in front of his car and kind of stops a minute, looks in, and then walks off again. But as you continue to watch this interaction with the police officer, you see this individual kind of waiting around. And we got our speculating glasses on and we started talking about it. You want to tell them what we said, Jeff?
Actually, I thought that was my cue to go find it as I
Oh,
so that we could see it.
well, you can find it if
You want to show?
Yeah, go ahead if you can find that. Yeah.
Yeah, let me. Yeah, keep talking, and I should be able to find it because we
Rondi
pulled it
says,
up the other
"Don't
day.
wreck that for me, Jeff."
Sorry, Rondi. Now I gotta get Rondi a Christmas present that came from the North Pole.
Right. Also think they want to know how many details the public knew of their opinions. Kind of like some people call the yellow light on a stoplight yellow. Some people call it orange. It's yellow, y'all.
Santa is real. Y'all don't trip out. Jeff ruined Christmas for some people.
I run those yellow things. They're pink to me, you know. No Santa. I thought the prosecutor was Santa.
Yeah, there you go. I know you're wrong about Christmas. I seen him in the courtroom.
Texas, what's up, man? Did you watch the Longhorns beat Michigan? There you go, man. They beat them. I think BK was dating her. Yeah, I mean that's what Jeff and I were saying. Is like, is that the Asian girl that's
And you know what's interesting about this is we found out on that Dateline that Asian girl was a coworker and that she kind of had a little thing for Bri. You know what I mean? And it even said in the Dateline thing that when she tried to, make it a little more than friends, our boy kind of pulled away and backed off. So, yeah, Texas, I know that. We're talking Longhorn beating Michigan. Wow, that was a hell of a game, too. So, that Asian girl is the token Asian that we have been talking about for a long time. You know, and come to find out as well, she was the one that had the camera installed in her apartment by Brian. And later on, she felt like he had violated her by digital peeping, So, it's all we're discussing it here and now we're talking about it live. So this is some good stuff.
kind of waiting around? And we were saying like, whenever you see somebody that's with law enforcement and you're kind of supposed to go over there, you're gonna kind of stay away from that area until everything clears. So it looked kind of questioning. I mean, we're not trying to make anything out of anything. It just, when you watch this, you're like, hey, that girl just kind of walks real slow. And BK or Brian checks her out. So he gives her
Yeah, it was
this
just
look
kind of a
like,
thought. It was a thought that came to mind is like,
yeah, yeah. So we're not starting a conspiracy here. We're not trying to have a boom.
right.
Damn, bro.
Wow, I hope that didn't blow out anybody's eardrums.
That's okay. I could buy
Wow.
some new headphones.
Always
But I
needed
think
it.
and I
When
think
they did that.
it's
Bro.
just as likely that this person walking on the sidewalk in front of the car has nothing to do with anything,
Right. So
But
we're not.
But it was interesting because we kind of jokingly, like sometimes when people talk about him dating an Asian woman, that almost like we joke about how it almost leaves you feeling like, gosh, the way you're talking about it, it's like there's only one Asian in the whole state or something, and
Yes.
so then as as we're talking about it and then we see like this, it's like, well, shoot, I think I've almost found it. I just checked. I found a spot where she's on. I saw her on the camera, but I just want to make sure there wasn't an earlier pass when she walked by.
PKC says, "Damn it again! I about threw my coffee 12 gauge." Oh my god! I wish they looked pink to me. So much more funny than yellow. I remember you guys talking about the Asian girl. Well, based on what Brian's neighbor said about often seeing Brian with an Asian woman and always seeing them talking and laughing, and his neighbor saw him the night of the event with her. I mean, we're not doubting that one bit, you know. We're not doubting that one bit because we have talked about that. You know, supposedly the girl that, you know, this is another statement that's been out there, is the one with the camera. That was the Asian girl that he went and fixed her camera and, you know, was supposedly looking inside her house and whatever. But, you know, regardless on who Brian dates, what that have to do with the crime? You know, I just don't understand, you know, looking deeper than you have to. You know, it's like stay around the house. That's where the crime happened. Now you're digging into the dude's dating history and you're digging into what kind of girls he's into, and you know, is he really into girls? Is, you know, all this stuff. It's just nuts.
I guess that's the idea of, you know, leaving no stone unturned. And does this mean anything? And does this connect to that? Or
no, sir, it doesn't go there. It's talking about being nosy. That has nothing to do with the murder. Leaving no stone unturned means that you're looking for stuff just to talk about it. And if you're listening, Jeff, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but that's what that is. It's like if you don't stick to what you know and you go down these rabbit holes and you're just looking for alternative stuff, then you're just making up a theory that doesn't exist. I mean, I know that you and I spent a lot of hours talking about different things, and I enjoy it. I enjoyed this. But, you know, looking back on it, we were on point with a lot more than we were not on point. But we didn't go digging into people's personal business, personal lives. We didn't throw different people under the bus. We didn't go putting people's names out there, their occupations, who they were tied to, who they were connected to, none of that stuff. So there's a difference.
does this, you know, I can kind of understand that a little bit, but I think I think it is possible to go too far. Yeah, let me go ahead and play. So this is at like around the 105 mark if you're playing along with the home game and have gone.
You can dig it, right, Jeff? You can dig this.
This is a clip. Yeah, I can dig it. This is a clip that, you know, is on YouTube on Long Crimes channel.
Yeah, we're just commenting on this fair use. YouTube patrol.
So I've got the sound down. I mean, we can always listen to it again with the sound up. I don't know that it makes a difference, but you'll see her come in from the left side of the frame, and then kind of she's on the phone and she kind of turns and goes the other way. But and then,
well, I get that, JB. I get that, JB. I don't believe he was stalking them. I don't believe that. Did you see her?
I think she comes in. I think she comes in again. So as we were looking at this earlier, we were wondering if he is looking and noticing her. It's funny. I think the first time we observed this, we were just kind of thinking like, oh, maybe, you know, that's his type or something, or, you know, he's taking notice, or I think we were talking about it as like, wow, you're you know, you're being pulled over and you're talking to a police officer, and it's like, yeah, but I'm still going to check out that girl that just walked by, you know?
Right.
I guess it's just that I thought she walked by twice, but I could be wrong.
Rewind it where she walks by and kind of slow it down.
Let me scroll past. Oh, there she is. Okay. She comes up like a minute later. So she comes through at 105. She also comes through at like the 2-minute mark. This is the second pass right here. So let's see if he looks to the right at all to see if. I'm
See, he's
sorry, but
kinda-
for people who say he
I think we're probably checking her out, Rondi, not him. He was probably checking out somebody else.
has no bushy eyebrows, I mean, I know it's probably has a lot to do just with his like skull makeup or the bone above his eyes, but I can see why that's the description. All right, so I think that was.
Do you think this traffic stop is gonna make it into trial? It was that schoolgirl look that she had going on. Some people are attracted to that. Not gonna say I am, but maybe Jeff is. You know. But do you think this traffic stop is gonna make it into trial? You think that this is gonna be one of the things that they show that that is ultimately gonna make it into the trial?
That was it. I'll go back to 105 again. We just forward a little bit more, just see if there's a third pass. I don't think there is.
Exactly, Texas. It did say that he liked her.
All right.
Or she liked him. And that's what makes it so interesting is everybody has heard different variations, so we get our opinion from what we've heard, right? And that's awesome that we can talk about this without calling people names and like putting forceful energy other than just sitting here talking about this. We can agree to disagree, right? PKC says, I think he was watching it. Just something about Steve's comment gave me the chills. Also indicative of another camera we don't know about yet. Bushy eyebrows is very subjective. I personally don't think he has bushy eyebrows.
I try to wonder. I mean, they're not super duper bushy like the Saeed guy on the Banfield, but if you imagine that he's coming towards you, he's looking downward, probably, as we've speculated that step up into the living room. Like, did he possibly trip over it going towards Xana's room? And then on the way back, as he's about to exit the house, is it any possibility?
No, he did not. We have already talked about that to death, and he did not trip over that. Obviously, we know better. If there was somebody running up and down the stairs, Xana didn't trip on it on her way to her room. So chances are he didn't either, chasing after her. And that's all I got to say about that. But, it's nice that we were having a good conversation that night, Jeff and I. This is where I start to get lost with so much speculating. It's like getting a picture in your mind, and that's the only way you see it. Rondi. There was blood gushing out of the stairwells or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually interpreted that to mean that there should be a ton of blood on him, or that he should be covered in blood that would be, evident to see. Actually, Glitter makes a good comment too that I've shared my thought that I'm wearing a pair of my noise canceling headphones right now, and I own 2 pair. So is it possible that those in the house also own noise canceling headphones? If you lived in a party house that partied all night and maybe you have to go to work the next day, how would you go to sleep if you're wanting to, if with all that noise, but you don't want to tell people, hey, party's over, I got to go to sleep? It just seems like seems plausible to me.
It was rumored that the jury thought DM was shady, so much so they thought she should be charged. Not sure that's 100% true. Yeah, I heard that as well. I don't believe that Dylan, and I'm going to say this on this live, and I'm going to upload these live that I did on this channel to my other channel, so everybody's going to see this. Everybody's going to hear it. I do not believe one iota that Dylan or Bethany had anything to do with this, that they knew anything about it, that they were a part of it, that they hid anything, that they knew what was going on. I'm going to come out on the record and say it. I'm not gonna, I don't believe that they had anything to do with it. And the fact that people continue to attack them, it just showed their ignorance, especially these grown men that are in their late middle ages and continue to talk down to these 20-something-year-old girls who are young enough to be your granddaughters, and you're sitting there talking about their physical looks, their body type, all this other stuff, that's creepy in itself. And, if all you can do is objectify females, then that tells a lot about yourself as well. Hunter as well. I don't believe Hunter had anything to do with this. He wasn't going to the kitchen to get a knife to go do anything but to make sure that he had a weapon just in case there was somebody in the house that was there to harm people. I don't know what y'all think, chat, but that's my opinion and I'm sticking to it. Like I said at the very beginning, these are my thoughts, these are my statements of truth. You don't have to like them, you don't have to agree with them. But I've heard so much stuff about the surviving roommates, it makes me sick. Makes me literally sick to watch grown ass men sit there and down these girls as if they're the same age as they are. To be sitting behind a microphone with a camera on you and talking about what you would have done or what you would have handled it, how you would have handled it. You're a man, for one. Like I've always said, you don't know how a female is going to react unless you have that much estrogen in your tank. So maybe you're trying to tell us something on the low, because a lot of you middle-aged men seem to think you would know what a young girl would think or do or how they would act or how they should have acted. So that just tells me that you have a lot of estrogen in your tank. So the next time that you hear grown-ass men talking about what these girls should have done or not done, you might question them if they have had their estrogen levels checked lately. And down goes the numbers. I don't care. I've been blocked for 7 days. I don't care what y'all think. I really don't. I've never cared and I'm not going to start now. I even thought about walking away, but you know what? Why am I going to walk away? I haven't bowed down to anybody yet, and I'm not about to. So, you know what? You're stuck with the gauge. I think it's a childish thing that's going on where the pro burgers were picking on their favorite guys, so they retaliate by picking on their favorite surviving roommates. Insubordinate and childish. It really is. It really is. I'm going to remember that one. I'm agreeing 100% with all you're saying, 12. I mean, does it not make sense? You're a grown middle-aged man and you're talking about what a 19, 20, 21-year-old female should have done, how she would have responded, how she would have thought. Well, damn, you're acting like you're a female and on the cool, on the low, It's like you need to get your estrogen checked because obviously you know more about a female than a female does, right? Yeah, y'all can use that stuff. I won't copyright you for hearing that in the chat. Maybe it'll catch on. Maybe it'll catch on. Because that irritates me. I'm 53 years old. That's like me sitting here talking about high school kids and how high school females would react. A, I've never been a high school female. B, I've never been a college age female. And C, I don't have that much estrogen in my tank to know exactly how I should feel as a female and what I should do, how I should react. And those people that get on these panels that are middle-aged men that do that, it just makes me wonder about the estrogen in their tanks. It really does. It really does. But that's all I got to say about that. I'm going to keep playing this video because they had some good insight in it. Me too. It's amazing how they cry and moan over a TV special that airs one day from a guilty perspective. Yet they're on YouTube 24/7 pretty much. Exactly. Texas, that will give me blocked for sure. I'm sure you probably will be. I don't care if I get blocked.
There was a lot of blood, but not as much as you would think on him. He stabbed and moved quickly, most on the bed when he left until. Yeah, because if they were on the bed, it would have pulled through the bedding and got, as we saw on that one wall, it went through and ended up on the outside. In the recent Tellis trial, he stabbed someone 7 times in the middle of the day, bright colored clothes, walked down the sidewalk. No one saw any blood on him.
Yeah, there was a profiler guy that we're talking about in that Dateline video about, another murder that he was investigating that multitude of people got killed. Not not one speck of blood throughout the house. And it was a bloodbath, he said. So that should tell you a lot. This isn't a Scream movie. This isn't Nightmare on Elm Street. This isn't Hellraiser. This isn't any of those movies. Quit making it where it's just gushing everywhere and you're just slipping and sliding all over the place. You know what? This guy knew what he was doing. And obviously he was out of his mind, but he was not out of his mind so much that he didn't take certain precautions. And he almost got away with it. I think Xana probably saved the case. If that's how it truly happened, she ran upstairs and then ran down. She preoccupied him that much. He dropped that damn sheath. And she saved the case. Otherwise, I believe it still be going on. I don't know if they would have caught him by now. Because it was a pretty good run, but he wasn't smart enough in the back nine, as they say.
Yes, read that one. Come on, read that one. I got a wow. I never get a wow.
Oh my gosh, I was gonna skip it, bro.
You were gonna. I saw you. I saw you.
Wow, Jeff H. Great point, and I believe there had been tons of screaming. So how could they not hear it? If my kid put on his headset to play his game, I can't be standing behind
Oh, and then the second part of it is right underneath it. Yeah, standing behind,
yelling
yelling
his
his
name
name.
and he won't hear me. Yeah. Well,
Right, right.
that's a good point. Keeping people quiet would add a lot more minutes to this crime. Yeah, you're right. When ambushed, I don't think there would be time to or energy to do loud screams.
But I mean, the fighting back would add time as well. So if you incapacitate them and they don't fight back, then I mean, look at there's videos of people that go like in a parade or like people outside and they've gone nuts and they pull up and then they just start running around stabbing everybody.
Yeah,
It's
this is
pretty
a good
quick.
point. This is a good point right here too. She says, but Dylan opened the door because of the noise Kaylee was making with the dog. So there goes that. Well, that's true because that's in the PCA. She says what appeared to
Sounded like. Yeah.
it sounded like Kaylee playing with her dog. I'm amazed at how much canceling noise these headphones do. So I actually make him keep one ear open because I get so frustrated.
I mean, I don't know where Glitter went. She never comes in here anymore. But that's neither here nor there. But think about this about the noise canceling headphones. We've never heard one way or the other. That is a good thought. It really is. I'm not bagging on Jeff one bit or Glitter. I mean, that's a good thought because earpods, whatever, you could have one in your ear and you could still hear out the other ear. You could still hear what's going on, but it's still on this one ear. You have music or true crime playing, as what we've later found out that she enjoyed watching before bedtime since she was in high school. So, that tells you a lot. She could have been preoccupied watching true crime and didn't hear a lot. I mean, hell, if she heard screaming in her ear or any kind of shuffling or anything like that, it could have been her thinking it was coming from the damn true crime show that she was watching. See how that goes? That is speculation. But, it does make a little bit of sense, right? Or does it?
Yeah, here I got the PCA if you want to.
No, we're good.
Have been looking at.
No, we're good. Agreed. It is almost impossible to keep 4 adults quiet. Maybe one, not 4. No, not the PCA tonight, Jeff. It's
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I can just read that line because it does
Oh,
say.
okay. Well, go ahead and read it. Go ahead and read it.
No, you have to trust me that I'm reading it without the. So it sounded like. Wait. DM stated she was awoken at approximately 4 a.m. by what she stated sounded like Gonzalez playing with her dog in one of the upstairs bedrooms, which were located on the 3rd floor. So it's the wording of it sounded like, I mean, I interpret that as like, well, damn, the murder sounds like playing with a dog.
No,
And a lot of people say, oh, that was
the judge. She asked me if I heard the judge. That judge.
What did the judge say?
I didn't hear him.
That's so funny. There's a YouTuber, TD. His thumbnail says, "How were there no screams?" Why Dateline broke the gag order? I swear. Let me sit here and talk to you about that. Why Dateline broke the gag order? That why question has no viable answer. None whatsoever. Because you know what? Your why doesn't equal my why, and it will never equal that. And the truth of the matter is, nobody's why adds up unless they understand the what, the when, the how, and the where. Other than that, that why is just useless.
Well, we got amazing microphones these days, cameras that filter out our ugly earphones, that noise they need to make something to help us with our stupidity. I'd buy stock.
I'd buy stock. Yeah.
Defensive wounds, but with the size of that knife, it would have been a long fight. It wouldn't have been a long fight. Xana and Kaylee had defensive wounds, right? Yes, exactly. That's what we've been told. So, I mean, everybody but Maddie had really been given demonstrative wounds and, specific wounds. Maddie's the only one that really hasn't. They have nobody that I can recall has ever stated what kind of wounds Maddie had that were so different than the rest of the other people.
And now we understand what that statement means. The wound didn't match. The wound didn't match because what did we know now? Kaylee supposedly had facial injuries that were inconsistent with what Maddie had going on. So that tells you a lot right there.
That almost makes me wonder, is it possible that from the back parking lot through the window, could he have seen that Maddie is asleep and in the bed, and basically a very easy target to come up and an ambush?
Yeah. Leslie said, "Did I hear the judge can only be the judge if it's Dan District?" No, I didn't. I haven't been following that today. I've been watching football all day, just trying to distance myself from the internet. So I haven't really, I'm so far behind on that part. So, but that's interesting to know. If they move it from his court, maybe that was the whole plan. Maybe he felt incompetent and needed some other judge to take over. Who knows?
Boom.
Again, would it sound like playing with a dog if he had a headset or earphones and didn't have a murder to compare it?
Jeff, if you're watching or listening, we have some very good, thoughtful lives going on. We really were spitting a lot of bars right here. And this was, I enjoy these kind of lives with Nina, with Jeff, because they're easy to talk to. They don't have Jeff and I, we've had our disagreements on a lot of things since day one, but doesn't mean that we don't shake hands after the live and be like, man, that was some stuff right there, blah, blah, blah. We're laughing about it. As an adult, that's how things get handled. You're able to discuss something, even if you don't agree with it, and you shake it off and you go your separate ways until next time. You know what I mean? It's like, well, I'll see you tomorrow night. We'll still have some discussions. Could Brian have kicked Kaylee in the face and not his fist? That's a great question. What do y'all think, chat? Do you think he could have kicked her in the face, or do you think it was his fist? Jeff, I'm glad you're here. This is good stuff. Yeah. I don't think he. Why would. I mean, in my mind, Rondi, and I could be wrong, I believe that she was backing away, kicking at him. I don't see him being on his butt, scooting himself towards her, kicking her in the face. You know what I mean? That just two people on their asses facing each other like that. It just doesn't add up in my mind. Not saying that it couldn't happen. He's a tall dude. That's a little bed. There's not a lot of swinging motion. I mean, where was he? Where was he getting his balance from? Was he standing on the bed, kicking her in the face? I mean, that just doesn't. That doesn't add up. I'm thinking more of a boom, maybe an uppercut. I mean, you just don't know. You know. That'd be hard to keep your balance on that bed while you're kicking, you know? Thank you, Leslie. You've been here? She could be on in the floor. Well, that's possible. Anything's possible. I mean, I'm just saying that if she was backing up into that corner, crab walking type, backwards, it would have been harder for him to kick her than to punch her. I mean, he could have been like trying to hold her leg down as he's punching her, maybe have a hand around her throat, anything like that. It, you know, yeah, 12 is grounded. Let's continue on with this. I'm glad you are enjoying this.
True. That's a good point. I've never heard
Yeah,
anybody
yeah.
getting murdered.
I like the way you kind of phrase that. It's like, well, the last murder I heard sounded a little more like this or that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maddie
2
was the only
murders
one
ago.
sleeping.
This is
Yeah,
how
that could
that
have very
aligns.
been.
I think I agree with that too. Yeah.
When we start talking about the details of what these kids went through, that's when my heart starts to break. Exactly.
Yeah. It makes me sick to think about it. Yeah.
That would be nice if we got a new judge. I mean, honestly, it might be best to have a judge with no conflict of interest due to exactly.
It makes you wonder where some of these people that chatted, like this person, JB, she used to come in here a lot. I don't know if it's the same JB that is like JB Hog now or whatever, but you often wonder when I see these comments, I'm like, I wonder what they're doing now. Like, do it behind the music kind of thing. Where did my chatters go? Well, JB has since moved on to the Karen Reed case, and she's now commenting about this and that and the other. I'm being silly right now, but you know what I'm talking about. You ever wonder, where did those people go? Why did they stop commenting? Are they still lurking? Are they, did they give up on the case? Did they just not care anymore?
It'd be nice to have a judge that was not one where it seems like they're all associated with that town. So
yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. I mean, I've kind of jokingly even said one time, it's like, what if there's a chance that the judge and Anne maybe dated or something for a moment? Like, how awkward would that make this whole situation? I'm sure they'd have to reveal that. It would shut everything down. So
yeah, that's why he's throwing googly. That's why he's throwing googly eyes at her, man. Like, hey, remember the other night? Yeah. Hey,
what Glitter say? Glitter said, "I can't be smart and funny. Pick one."
Whoa, Glitter.
I'll be smunny. I'll be both.
Yeah, exactly.
Jeff, did you see my shirt? You guys, I appreciate all this interaction. I'm enjoying it. It's so refreshing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's really cool because 12 is always just talking about the same crap over and over again. So I appreciate y'all coming along. And I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, I work for the county, and I know pretty much everybody in the county. Like, I know the judges now. I know. Okay, let's speed that up.
Exactly. Right.
I need to speed that up in case I reveal too much. Can be being caught on camera. you know, spilling stuff. Oh, Ann and Bill know each other well.
Well, and also too, I just watched a video of this guy that was they frisked the guy in the police station 3 times, and none of them found that he had a gun in his sock. And when that cop was alone with him, and that cop was alone with him at the computer taking down information, and the guy, he's like, "Do you have family?" And the guy's like, "Yeah." "Do you have kids?" "Yeah, 2." And then he pulls the gun out of the sock and he kills the cop. So I often wonder sometimes. I mean, I don't know police officer procedure, but I imagine when you are having lunch or having food, you're kind of in a vulnerable position. So maybe it's good to have other. I don't know if that's the reason they do that. That they have multiple.
And they
people
also
around.
give them free food at most places because they know that they're at any moment they could be called out. So
Yeah.
Bria or Bree, she asked, "What evidence do you guys believe the prosecution has besides the DNA on the knife sheath?" I'll answer this first. I believe that the evidence that's going to be worth anything is under the gag order. You know, I believe that everything that we've seen, Banfield.
Shut up. I got the answer. They got search history. They got Amazon history. They got him looking for a replacement K-bar knife. They have him Googling or watching porn with suspicious type activity. They have him at the pool party. They have all this evidence. And they have the 1112 camera and the Ridge Road camera. They have all this stuff. But you still don't believe. You know, I equate it to Jeff, I'm talking like you're right here. I equate it to people in the old days who witnessed Jesus performing miracles, and people would go and say, "Well, you know what? I saw him turn water into wine. I saw him, you know, have all these fish, so many fish out of the water that it was, you know, they were going over in the baskets and all this stuff." There's people testifying what they've seen, what they've heard, and there's still people on the sideline saying, "Nah, there's no way that dude could have done that. No way. He's just human like us. There had to be a magic trick to it. You know, those fish were, you know, they weren't jumping out of the water into the baskets. He didn't turn that water into wine. You know, all that stuff. It didn't happen. He didn't raise a man from the dead. He didn't put his hands on somebody who never walked before, and all of a sudden he stood up and walked. There's no way. There's no way that that happened. You're foolish. You're fools. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, okay, okay. That's why there's still people that go against the norm because they want to be different. They want to be those people that say, there's no way that that could have happened, or there's not enough evidence for me to be convinced. But if we were to look at some of these people's lives, it'd be easy to tell why they believe what they believe. Not because they're bad people, not because they're, you know, biased or any of this, but there's some reason that causes them to go against the societal norm. That's what it's called. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that causes a lot of people on YouTube to go against the societal norm? The norm is if somebody is caught committing a crime and they have evidence, whether it's circumstantial or whether it's not, if somehow that they can piece together enough of this evidence, the person is presumed innocent until they go to court. Never have I ever experienced a case like this where people are so divided, where people call names, and where people are so adamant that mainstream media is lying, the police are lying, the court system is biased, the court system is prejudicial, um, a person's rights are being violated. You don't think that if any of this stuff that you say is true, that there's not enough eyes on this case that if it was true and it was able to be proven, this individual wouldn't be sitting in jail today. He wouldn't be sitting in jail today, and I've always said that. And that has nothing to do with your belief system. It just has to do with the facts of how the procedures work. You know, they don't just make up this stuff because they believe in their heart that this person did it and they're going to do everything in their power to keep them in jail. That's not how it works. You know, it's interesting to me to believe, even if this man is innocent, okay, even if he's proven innocent, I won't be one that's like, okay, I don't believe that and blah blah blah, because I know how the court of law works. He's given that presumption of innocence for a reason. But it still doesn't mean that as a citizen, I can't have my own beliefs regarding the evidence, regarding what I've seen, what I've heard, what we've been shown, the documents, all this stuff. I can't have that right as a human being to have my own thoughts and beliefs without being attacked. But yet, what these people are doing is the same thing that they're accusing other people of doing to Brian. They do to others. So, how much of an oxymoron is that? You accuse so many people of not having the evidence to prove that this individual didn't do it, and there's no way this and that and the other, and you get upset and you get angry, but yet you do the same thing whenever you're shown that people don't believe that narrative. You get irate and you start bashing and you start being angry and you start character assassinating and you do all this other stuff. It's just sad. It's just sad. I'm glad that, I am a believer in what I believe, and, it's helped me through life to regain a sense of balance that I didn't have before. I believe the good guy does win sometimes. Does the bad guy always guilty? No, not all the time. But you know what? In those cases, you can definitely see corruption. Linda Lane, heard snippets of certain things, the pictures, the interactions with family, all this stuff. It just almost like to keep YouTubers away from the real stuff. Like if you're busy looking at this stuff for days and weeks and months, then you're not going to go prying on trying to get the real evidence, so the gag order is going to work. So
I believe that the evidence that they do have, if they have evidence substantial enough for the culpability of him being in jail right now, it has to be pretty strong. Otherwise, he would have been let go out of jail at this point. I don't believe he's guilty or innocent at this.
It's interesting to me how consistent I am with my words. I didn't watch this. I haven't watched this in however long it's been since it was aired. I usually don't go back and watch my lives. I don't. I can't, you know. But it's interesting how the thought process, it always goes back to what we say. And I know Jeff probably thinking the same thing as he's listening to himself. He's probably thinking the same thoughts he's about to say or said before. And he's like, damn, at least I'm consistent, right?
Point, he is in custody. That's all I believe, and I know is he's in custody. He's in jail. So whether he's guilty or whether he's innocent, that's neither here nor there at this point. He's just in custody. He's awaiting his day in court so that he can be proven one way or the other.
Yeah, would you think, like, if they were just absolutely certain he did not do this at all, would they still allow him to just be, in custody for this long without like a situation where it's like evidence shows that he had bushy eyebrows, this must be him, but my client doesn't have a head, that kind of a situation where it's obvious there's no way. Wouldn't that lawyer of the headless defendant be dealing with just getting him out of jail right then and right there? You know what I'm trying to say? So it's like,
Yeah. I totally get what you're saying. I mean, after a while, you have to just, even if you don't want to, you must trust the process. You must trust the process.
yep. How you doing, Toes? Good to see you, man.
Toes was in
I agree
here.
with what Toes is saying too. Yeah, that's a small town. They all know everybody. They've yeah, they're connected like a small town would be. Not necessarily a bad, thing, but I mean, something to, to think about. They would each know how much you can trust each other or each of them, or like their history. They all know their histories.
Yeah.
So,
Hey,
and from the people that I know of in that area, all those people are spoken highly of, and so.
Well, we all know people that have been wrongly convicted, but as I was looking at this statistic the other day when I was watching this court document training, it fluctuates between 68 and 80% of people that are convicted for murder, they really are murderers. It's not so on the line that they're convicting more people for murder than actually do it. And I believe that is sometimes perpetrated through different entities to kind of sway people's opinion of certain things, because we want to be swayed one way or the other. Like if you like the Cowboys, or you like the Browns, they play tomorrow. So somebody's going to be on here trying to sway you to cheer for a certain team because this other team, they look this bad or they don't have this or they don't have that. So you're going to go with the winner. So if there's more evidence to support somebody's claim about something being potentially wrong, but yet this is the bigger challenge, I guess, for you to hang on to. You're going to go with what most people are going with, and that's just proven fact. I lost my train of thought. I'm getting a text about my debit card being used by accident by my niece, and
No, that was me, man. I'm sorry. I just ordered some Wendy's delivered.
She said, she said, I think I just accidentally used your card on DoorDash to buy me and my friend a Sonic drink. It won't let me cancel it. We're trying to use our gift card and it was a Visa too, and I got it confused. Sorry.
How ironic to be. Could that type of scenario play out in this case with Xana and the delivery for
The DoorDash, yeah, the
for the
DoorDash.
DoorDash?
Yeah. I mean, do you believe that they have the receipt with the time the DoorDash would deliver? Like,
And we have the answer to this question now. It was delivered at 3:59, and they do have the receipt. And we do know that it was placed on Ethan's account. So that's interesting. Very interesting how we have the questions, now we have the answers.
Yeah, I mean, they would have it from the driver. I mean, and the information, all the paper trail of that order, I think would
yeah.
be pretty. Somebody was asking about bail, and I don't know. Sometimes Chat GPT gets it right, sometimes maybe not, but it says the possibility of bail can significantly. I'm sorry. The possibility of bail can be significantly influenced by the nature of the charges and the proceedings. A grand jury indictment can indicate that the evidence against him is considered strong enough to proceed to trial, which often impacts bail decisions. So I think that's what they were asking about with regards to is it the grand jury involvement that knocks out the potential for bail?
Well, also because that's a right of his to be granted bail. Okay. So most people are granted bail unless there's certain things that could be a risk to them attending their trial. One would be flight risk. One would be, the potential for them to actually go and do another crime or,
And I believe, and I could be wrong, that not only because of the death penalty thing, but also I believe that the fact that it looked like he was running to Pennsylvania, that they viewed that as a flight risk. I mean, he left the area and went states away, and they had to go hunt him down. So I would believe that that would have been one of the reasons why bail wasn't granted. Because, like I stated in another live, I don't know if it's this one or I'm about to say that, but there was capital murder that happened here on the young girl that got killed. Um, that had went to the grocery store late at night to get a drink, and these two illegals killed her, and they were granted bail. Granted, it was $1 million, but they were still allowed bail. So the fact that Brian didn't get bail, it'd be interesting to know why.
anything like that that would be detrimental for, if they have substance abuse problems and, they're robbing people or things like that, then these circumstances would obviously put no bail. Or if they're a repetitive um, offender, which he wasn't, he's a first time offender, so that wouldn't have been valid. But that's the only reason I can think of, him not being granted bail. But they're trying to say that he was a fugitive when he was going home for Christmas. I don't know how they classify that.
Ria's got a good comment right there at the very bottom. At least the.
Oh, that's toast. My bad.
Yeah, Bria is spelled with a B, not a T.
You said at the very bottom. That was toes at the very bottom.
Oh, I did say at the very bottom. Yeah, you're right.
Why did the defense have that proof? Aren't they supposed to give everything they have to the defense?
And now Texas Ranger had said, Bree, I think they have something that identifies him.
Yeah.
And then that's what Bree said. So one thing I'd be curious about is, and I was just talking about this earlier today. If Anne knows the most damning information about her client in this case, I mean, what does she do? I mean, she's obviously not going to speak on it. She's not going to share it. And she's going to do everything she can to, even with that knowledge, find some way to just keep this all from happening. So
Well,
I kind of agree. I kind of agree.
think people get disillusioned when these hearings are going on. They believe that whatever they're talking about is going to eventually pertain to. Good grief, 13.96 for 2 drinks. What the hell? Anyway, sorry.
Squirrel.
um,
That was who was it that used your card to charge that?
my niece.
Oh, I'm sure she's like, he's a big YouTuber now. He can afford this.
Right. But anyways, I think people get, caught up in these hearings as if, what we're hearing is actually going to take any credence on the real trial. These are kind of like, I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of like
It's almost like tough talk in a box before a boxing match. It's like, I can see Mike Tyson
kind of,
saying,
but it's kind of like setting the tone. It's like cleaning out the courtroom, and making sure you throw out what you believe, the other side could use against you, or you might not even have that card and you want it and they won't give it to you. You're trying to either cast doubt or you're trying to prove that your point is stronger than the other side's. And that is the bottom line. But at this point, it doesn't matter. None of this. The next portion is going to be suppression hearings, and that's going to be even uglier on the YouTube streets. I can promise you, because people are going to be like, "See, they suppressed that evidence, so therefore, that's the evidence they were going to use to convict him, or that's the evidence they were going to use to spring him." No, that evidence was probably collected without a search warrant, or
As much as I want to continue this, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off because I'd like to do some more of this when I get my channel back. I've almost gone 3 hours with different type of creators. I don't know where Nina went. I heard that big dog barking, so I don't know if it got out, if it needed some help, whatever. But I really do appreciate you guys hanging in there on this alternate channel. Um, Hopefully tomorrow or tonight at midnight, I get ungrounded and get to come out of the corner. If so, I will continue to upload these on my normal channel. That way other people can see them. Um, and Jeff, I've enjoyed, you and your thoughts from the past. I mean, it's always a great conversation between us. Like I said, most of the panel guests that I do have up here, we do have some great conversational value. And I try to always remember that it isn't about winning or losing or who has the best channel or the best content. It's about identification um, with your own self and your own beliefs, and that we are individuals and we are not all robots. And even though we do deep dive a little deeper than other people, or we have different scenarios in our head, it doesn't make us wrong. I mean, once this trial is over, we're all going to see exactly where we were regarding our thoughts, regarding our theories. And one thing I can tell you, if he is guilty, he will not be facing the firing squad the next day. And no, they did not build the new firing squad just for Brian. They have approved that a while back, and they needed to construct it because they did not have one. So, they even used it recently on one of the one of the people that they put to death. So some of these rumors or some of these thoughts that people say, and then they like to clarify it with, in my opinion, you know, it doesn't equate the fact that it's not true. If I'm a liar, I'm a liar. Just because I say I'm joking does not equate the fact that I lied to you. If that's how you roll, that's how you live your life, well, YouTube the place for you, because It seems to me like a lot of people like to be lied to. They like to be yelled at. They like to be put down. If that's what you're about and you love that drama, then you're in the right place for it. I'm just thankful that my channel has not been like that for a very long time. And one of the reasons is because I don't put up with that. And second of all, I believe that um we can get to a common goal without being ignorant to reality. You know, just because some people live in an alternate universe does not mean that their universe aligns with my universe. And that's okay. And vice versa. I'm going to sign off and thank you all that have hung in there, Bullets and Bling. I hope that you're feeling better and I hope your husband's doing okay and your family in general. And anybody else who might be struggling a little bit, Leslie, I'm glad that you were out planting that tree. And that's awesome for the reason that you planted it. You know, sometimes we do got to get out there, as people say, and touch that grass because life is short and we never know what's going to happen tomorrow. You know, happy Mother's Day to all you mothers. And if I am lifted from the band, you might get a quick video tomorrow. I don't know. It depends, you know? Well, I appreciate that, Jeff. I appreciate that, buddy. You know, there are some mothers that may not have their children. You know, I know it's a tough day for y'all, but always remember, cherish the memories that you do have. I took my mom out to eat today, or actually my dad and I did, and we had a wonderful time. You know, to not have a relationship with a person for a long time and then all of a sudden build that relationship, there's a lot to be said about that, you know? Because I always felt when I was younger that I wasn't that close to my mom. I didn't have that connection with her for whatever reason. But I do now. And so don't ever quit on the process. And you know, you don't have to be getting down on people's level who are not at your level. Like I said, next time you're in a male creators chat and they're talking about how females act and how they should have done this and should have done that, why don't y'all just give them a quote and say, how much estrogen do you have in your tank that you can identify with a 19, 20-year-old female? Or the simple fact that you're objectifying a 19, 20, 21-year-old female, that says a lot about you and your mindset. You get what I'm saying? You can take credit for it. You don't have to give me credit for it, but if you give me credit, I won't shy away from it. You know, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I know I was about to sign off, but I guess I'm feeling like taking up this next 6 minutes. I'm going to be honest with you guys. This has been a tough week for me because I was honestly, and I've talked to my girlfriend about this, I was honestly going to walk away. I was going to walk away and just leave YouTube behind. I really was. But I've never quit on anything in my life, especially something that has to do with me. You know, I like that y'all enjoy me being here. That makes me feel like this is for a reason. But I was really going to walk away. I was really going to not delete my channel, but I was just going to walk away. But I truly won't walk away until, like I say, I will get on a live and I will call everybody out and I will tell them exactly what I've always thought of them and how type of a person they really are. And at the end, I'll drop the mic, give the peace sign, and that'll be the end. But until then, I'm here to stay until the good Lord takes me. So hopefully we have some upper level guests coming up on the show in the near future. And like I said, I'm not going to be disclosing anything because it seems like when I disclose something, some other creator runs with it and they have these people on their channel as quickly or a duplicate, and that could be coincidental. But I'm wanting to be upper level channel, so I want these upper level guests, to be able to feel comfortable to come to my channel. And no shade on anybody else, but I just believe that I have a lot to offer the true crime community. You know, just be easy when you go off on me. I'm not talking about you guys. I'm talking about these creators in the true crime community. I'm working on that and I'm working hard. And honestly, I'm going to stop talking about other people. I need to erase that from my vocabulary because I I used to not do that. And in order to be taken serious, I need to be more of a professional minded person. And I want this chat to become upper echelon. And I want you guys who are creators as well. I would like for you guys to continue to grow in a positive way as well because I know that your channels mean a lot to you. And I'm trying to, not necessarily, take you and help you grow like that, but I view us as being kind of, friendly. I wouldn't say a team because, we really are independent regarding our channels, you know. But whatever I can help you do, I'm more than willing to do that. And for Jeff H, I really appreciate that live last night. For your first live, you did a hell of a job. And there was a lot of people in there cheering you on. So that should tell you that you should do that more often. Maybe not every day, but you should do it more often because people really do respect what you have to say. And how it's your platform. Nobody can argue with you or kick you out of it. So I'm happy to see that you guys continue to show up and suit up and do what you got to do. And Jeff, if you want to ask any of these mods if they want to mod for you, you're more than welcome for them to go over there if they want to go over there. I don't own anybody here. We're all independent. So 1 minute. What can I say in 1 minute? Usually I have the kids or the adults. I say, well, we got 1 minute to go. And they're like, oh man, come on. I'm like, no, we're gonna go until 3 hours. We're going 3 hours. So we got 1 minute, you know. I don't know. I hope you guys enjoy the content. I really do, past and present. And Jeff and I were talking earlier about possibly redoing that camera one with some different examples. Um, you know, because like I said, I want to do different things. What did they say? Flattery is the best form of imitation? Or no, the other way around. Imitation is the best form of flattery. So you see it out there, know where you saw it first. You guys have a wonderful night. And you mothers out there, have a wonderful Mother's Day. Be safe, everyone. Cherish your families and be awesome as you always are. Maestro, cue that music.